Hello, and welcome to Star Wars Hour, an entire hour dedicated to our favorite topic, Star Wars. This is the very first episode, but I want you guys to know that Star Wars Hour is all about Star Wars news, theories, discussions, updates, everything going on in the world of Star Wars. And we're actually fortunate that a brand new exciting topic has just landed on our doorstep. Hi, I'm Rich Alvarez, and this here is...
I'm the D. Rockefeller from the complaint department. That's pretty much all anybody knows me from. Also, aka the Time Police, if you're in the Discord.
Yes. So we're hosting our show, Star Wars Hour, and we're gonna be doing this every Wednesday until we die or something.
Yeah, or our souls do, which is coming any day now.
Anyways, yeah. So this is a little bit of an informal start because I just want to introduce the show. But yeah, we're gonna be getting super into some super cool stuff here.
All thing Star.
Now, half people have already clicked away like, this is not the serious Star Wars show I wanted.
It's coming!
All right, so
Never.
We're just going to get right into, like, the big topic here. Rian Johnson, of course, everybody knows he's the guy who is directing, and I say is directing, but he already directed it. We just haven't seen it yet. Episode 8, The Last Jedi. And to me, as we'll talk about The Last Jedi, all about it in just a minute. But Rian Johnson, he directed Looper. He's directed several episodes of television, like Breaking Bad. I consider him a very interesting and good dark director. And I'm really looking forward to episode 8. But it was announced about a month ago that he was going to be directing a new Star Wars trilogy that is, nothing we've ever seen before. And I think a lot of us were assuming that he just meant something we've never seen in the Star Wars movies before. So a lot of people are like, oh, I wonder if he's going to do Old Republic. Out of like all of the theories on what this new trilogy would be, a lot of people were thinking Old Republic. No. But guess what?
Womp, womp.
Just yesterday, Rian Johnson was like, oh, Old Republic, yeah, that's cool, except you've done it already in a video game. No, my trilogy is going to be something completely different. So apparently he's saying that his trilogy is going to be something we haven't seen, period. Not just in movies, games, comics, something completely that you've never seen in Star Wars before.
Remake of Battlefront 2.
D-Rock, your thoughts?
No, I think that's accurate. I think... he's probably taking the right direction with it. We don't really need to see the stuff we've already seen. There's already so much canon out there that him deciding to make his own, I think, is a brilliant idea. I think that really allows the Star Wars universe to continue to expand, which is where we really need to go. I mean, we had that first with The Force Awakens coming back out. We kind of had that introduction back to what we used to know and love, and that was cute. It was good. It made a lot of money, so Disney's happy. But I think it's about time that Star Wars really evolves into that next step. And I think redoing something is just not necessary right now.
I think this is a good direction to go. I love Old Republic, and eventually I would like to see an Old Republic movie, but I like Rian Johnson's original ideas, and I can't wait to see more of his original ideas.
Yes.
Now, granted, he's taking... he took ideas obviously from episode 7 to make episode 8, but he's doing his own things with it. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be interesting to see JJ pick up the pieces and like, well, this is how I wanted things to go, when he does episode 9.
Porgs can shapeshift! I'm sure it won't be anything quite as cute as that. I think you're right with the tone of episode 8 is really having to be like kind of a carryover from 7. It's requiring them to continue on with what it needs to keep the audience, because it brought in so many new people and such a new generation that I'm just excited to see where it goes.
A lot of people complain about episode 7 being kind of taking a lot of things from the original trilogy, especially episode 4, and kind of like basically it's a remake but with new characters,
Right.
And I think that that's kind of true to a degree, but given that it had been 10 years since the last prequel, and a lot of people were kind of divided on the prequels, I think that JJ just did what he had to do to kind of bring people back into the Star Wars universe.
I think the story being the same, but the attitude, the direction, and then where the universe is at, it was totally different. Sure, they did the whole blowing up of the giant space thing and all that stuff, which has been done before, but that wasn't what was important out of episode 7, which was getting us back on track to having a whole different line of Star Wars films.
Right. I think that JJ had a lot of ideas, and when he handed everything over to Rian Johnson for episode 8, he was like, "Here's where I was leading everything," but then Rian Johnson went whoop, because I'm pretty certain that in JJ Abrams, like his whole idea of where things would go, Rey was going to be Luke's daughter, but then Rian Johnson was like, nah, and then like the first thing that Luke says in episode 8 is, "Who are you?" Like, it's like that he and he likes to create his own original stuff, and so hearing this news, like I was really upset when I heard he wasn't going to also be doing episode 9, but now, especially with this news, I totally get it. Rian Johnson just wants to do his own thing.
Yes.
He liked doing episode 8, but he didn't want to do episode 9 because he'd just then be completing what JJ started.
Yes.
He wants to start and finish his own thing.
Yeah, he wants to make his mark on it. And when you start doing multiple, as a director, when you start doing multiple movies or multiple episodes of something, you end up losing a lot of your own creative direction with it, and you kind of have to take it the way the audience wants, and also the direction of both the people who sponsor it. You have the producers, you have all parties become significantly more invested when you're coming up with multiple versions of the story and sequels and things like that. So when you bring in a new director, it allows that person to say, well, no, I wasn't here before, so damn it all, I'm going to do it myself. So
I wonder what he could do that we haven't seen already, because I feel like almost I feel like every facet of the Star Wars universe has been explored to some degree, I know what I would like to see, even more than an Old Republic movie. I would like to see a movie centered around like the crime syndicates, like Jabba the Hutt.
Yes.
And like, because they had hinted a while ago that they were thinking about doing like a Goodfellas style movie with like Jabba and the bounty hunters and everything.
You could do that without even using those characters.
Yeah, you do it different.
The universe has such an unexplored... has that unexplored underbelly that would happen when you have two large factions trying to rule the same space, especially when you come into just the vastness of space. You can't police it all. And so I think having that that kind of like dark, gritty oh crap, I'm trying to think now. Just that dark, gritty...
You could do it anywhere.
Yeah, you could do it anywhere. You could just make up a planet, and that might be good for a one-off.
Planet Curly's Gold.
Yes.
So episode 8, it's directed by Rian Johnson. It's coming out in just about a week and a half here.
So soon. And it's already sold out everywhere. Mm-hmm.
I bought my tickets 2 months ago.
I didn't. I'm going to see it next week.
There's a lot of things I want to talk about with episode 8. Primarily, there's also, it was about a week ago or something. Maybe longer ago, and I just only heard about it. Like, Rian Johnson also said that we are going to see a brand new lightsaber color in episode 8. Now, I don't know if this is new, like how he says new trilogy, because I'm pretty sure every single color on the spectrum has been done in comics and video games.
Yes.
So this time he probably does mean new to this movie.
The movie, yeah.
And I'm assuming yellow or gold or orange.
I think it's going to be, I think we talked a little bit about this before. I think it's going to be yellow. I think it's going to be kind of a, as you mentioned in the comics, it's Leia's saber, right, was yellow. And so I think they're going to make that kind of homage or pay tribute to Carrie Fisher passing, having been that character, having embodied that character.
Like, they find Leia's secret saber.
Yes,
she had it the whole time.
It's gonna be some weird trip, like a weird twist like that, and everybody's gonna go, "Oh, come on!" But it's gonna be that one of those things where it has to be done in order to just. I think it's gonna be great.
Possibly. It could also be if Snoke, I think that Snoke is just like a Force vampire who just sucks the Force out of people to extend his own life. But if he is a Sith or a Dark Jedi, then maybe it's his lightsaber we're going to see, and maybe it's like a black electrical thing or something. Who knows? Kind of like the Blade in the Clone Wars show,
yes, yeah, which they already talked a little bit about that, like why that one's so much more powerful, the science, the space science behind all that. I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be yellow. Now, your orange theory,
Orange theory.
Heyo. Not sponsored. Your orange theory on it was interesting, but I don't know where they would bring that from. Like, what would they just introduce the color and be like, here's its own new thing? Or do you think they would have some, like, tie back to the comics on that? Because I think I think they're all about bringing the canon together right now. And I think if they reintroduce that yellow saber, that's gonna really bring it.
They could just have a new lightsaber color and not explain it at all.
True.
When Mace Windu stepped down the scene with his purple saber, we got no explanation.
Yep.
In Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, when Luke all of a sudden had a green lightsaber, which was the first time we had seen a green lightsaber, no explanation. He just made it, And Lucas, he even said before that like in his mind, all Jedi had blue lightsabers. And then when they did the rotoscoping on Tatooine, it was like the blue wasn't showing up because of how bright the desert was. So like, how about green? And like, oh, I guess Jedis can have green too, So.
Production requirements.
And so now they've made up every spectrum of lightsaber known to man in various medias.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on to Rey herself in Episode 8. Yes. She is she is as of right now the central character, but I later I'll talk about my theory that we're going to be shifting into Kylo Ren being the actual main character of these movies.
Think he'll be the actual main character?
I mean, he is the Skywalker.
Let's save that. We're talking about Rey right now.
Okay,
yeah.
So Rey, if you guys have seen all the trailers, and if you're watching extra Star Wars material like the Star Wars Hour, I can't imagine that you'd be watching this before you'd see all the trailers and TV spots. But anyways, in all of the trailers and TV spots, Rey is like, I need someone to show me my place in all this. And Kylo's like... I think that those are two different scenes.
Oh, yeah, there's not even going to be close.
But thematically, it's still that she doesn't know who she is and where she's going. And I don't mean like who her parents are. I just mean like she doesn't know who she is as a person and as a Jedi, as a Force wielder. And I think she's kind of on that, Empire's, people are like, oh God, is it going to be a copy of Empire? I don't think it's going to be a copy of Empire, but I definitely think that she's taking that middle step of the hero's journey where she's just trying to find herself.
It will be another hero's journey movie. That'll be part of it. But I think the Rey's purpose in that film is going to be not as important to the entirety of the canon as you would think. I think Rey will probably have a part. Maybe she'll kill Snoke. Maybe she'll kill Luke. Maybe something crazy like that will happen, and then she'll end up just fading away.
What percentage are you at that she'll turn to the dark side by the end of this movie? 0%?
There's no way. There will. No.
I'm 40%. I'm 40% she'll turn dark sided by the end of this movie.
Let me see if this changes it. Now, do you mean at all, or do you mean at the end of the movie she walks away, she's dark side?
Like it's like we think, oh, is she gonna go dark side, and then like the last shot of the movie, she's like, bam, red lightsaber, like that's the cliffhanger.
They do need a strong female villain.
Yeah.
They do. They haven't done that.
Because, I mean, I know that Lucas isn't in charge anymore, but his whole thing was like, like, especially when he's like, yeah, you can make your Star Wars spinoffs, like you can make Rogue One, but the main, like, episodes 1 through whenever they decide to finish is all about the Skywalkers. And as far as we know, Rey is not a Skywalker, which means that Kylo Ren is the one to carry the Skywalker banner, for better or worse. So he's a bad guy right now, but he was trained by Luke, and he does seem conflicted.
Yeah.
I kind of think, and actually I think it would be really cool, and it's almost what I'm hoping for at this point, that Rey goes to the dark side and Kylo comes back to the light side, and they do end up fighting each other. Well, either way, they're going to end up fighting each other, but with Kylo as the good guy and Rey as the bad guy.
Don't you think it'll be end up some like I know. Don't you think it'll end up being some like back and forth where it goes, she steps into the dark side with Kylo realizes how bad it is and then pulls her back out of it, and then both of them, after already killing Luke, and then they both go to kill Snoke? Don't you think it'll be some like,
I don't know how much boomeranging they want to do, but
based on the trailer, for me, there's a lot of boomeranging. A lot of different people are playing a lot of different roles in this movie, as already shown, and they've already brought back some what are going to be some very powerful good characters. Like with Phasma, they brought her back from an apparent no chance of dying possibility. She's not even injured. I thought she would have lost an arm in that compactor. But
I mean, she was thrown into a trash compactor of a planet that was about to be annihilated. So how she survived that will probably not be brought up, because there's just no way they can explain that.
What if it's a ruse?
Ooh, a ruse.
Yeah, you've heard it
what if it's not her? She takes off the helmet. It's not Gwendolyn Christie.
Oh my God.
It's Snoke.
I've been here the whole time.
Hashtag Snoke is Phasma.
Snoke is Phasma. Let's get it trending. No, I think it'll be something close like that. And did we ever see Phasma's face?
No, we never saw her face.
So it could be anyone. Could be anyone. That
Could
comes
be
out of
anyone.
that.
I mean, we assume it's Gwendolyn Christie because she voices the character,
Yeah.
but who knows? It'd be.
Huh?
I feel like why would they hire her if they were never going to show her though? Like I don't know.
Because they'll have her voiced, and then they'll pull off the helmet. It'll be somebody totally different. I don't know. But back to
It's Yoda.
oh my god,
It's Jar Jar.
it's like a little tiny walker in this huge, stormtrooper
Mr.
outfit.
Phasma the entire time, Annie.
Just his ears come folding out from under the helmet.
Okay.
See, I like the theory that Rey goes to the dark side,
Yeah.
but and this is where we can get into this topic now, and you're fighting me on it. You say Disney's not in charge, but anybody who gives that anything Disney gives that golden touch to has to follow a certain level of requirements that just in order to keep it. Like if you want to make another Disney movie in your lifetime, you better not fuck Disney over.
Well, here's where it officially stands. Now, as a lot of you guys know, Disney owns Lucasfilm, and Lucasfilm makes Star Wars. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Disney's really going to screw this up, or Disney's going to do that." It's like maybe, but I mean, per the agreement with Lucas originally, and this is the same way that Disney handles Marvel and Pixar. Disney owns Pixar, Marvel, and Lucasfilm, but for the most part, they leave them alone. They're like Kathleen Kennedy is the president of Lucasfilm, so she's the overhead of all projects, and then you have the directors like Rian Johnson and JJ who handle individual films. Bob Iger is the head of Disney, and he'll go in and watch like the rough cut, and maybe he'll be like, well, maybe could you he'll give a couple suggestions, but for the most part, officially at least, Disney stays out of it. And I this is not the Marvel show, but I do want to say that what I like about Marvel is that Marvel was a studio. There we go. Yeah. Marvel was a studio before it was owned by Disney.
True.
And it's a division of Marvel Entertainment, and so Marvel is literally making their own movies.
Yep.
Unlike DC, which does not have their own studio, and it's just Warner Brothers making
it
movies
is
based on DC Comics. Anyways, that's a whole other.
It's brutal. Yeah, that's a topic for another time or another channel.
Anyways, so I don't think that Disney has that much influence, but because they're owned by Disney, there probably is some pressure to follow certain corporate guidelines.
So I think any of those big Rey's permanently bad or something like that, I just don't think they're going to do that unless they do it as a badass. Like maybe she'll be the dark side, but she's got this internal conflict that we get to see play out either through internal monologues or something like that, where you watch her side with Snoke, and for good reason. I think Rey does need to play an important role in this, and if she does play it as a villain, it'd be the first time we've seen it in the Star Wars universe, really. And so I think that lends credit to your theory, but I'm still worried about that Disney touch, man.
We'll see. I just I know they'll be like, well, Rey can't be a bad guy. Right? She's got to be good. We sold all those toys with her with that blue lightsaber.
Batman was an orphan and he turned good. Why can't Rey?
But then Kathleen Kennedy could be like, oh, but Bob Iger, if Rey goes to the dark side, we could sell all new toys with the red lightsaber, and they'd be like, oh, I see what you did there. All right, it goes bad.
Right. Yes. I don't think we'll see a lot of switching as far as permanent switching as dark and light, but I think we're gonna boomerang and your neck's gonna snap by the end of the movie. dark light.
We will see.
Yeah.
So Rey's got to find her place, and that probably has zero to do with where she came from and who her parents are. And as I've been saying for the last 6 months or so, which you guys would know because this is the very first Star Wars hour, I don't think that Rey's parents are anybody special. I think that Rey is Rey, and people are like, well, she's such a Mary Sue. Well, it's just maybe she's just born very look at people like Mace Windu weren't born from the Force, or Mace Windu's parents weren't Obi-Wan and XYZ. He was just a really powerful Force wielding Jedi. Once he was trained and everything. And if you read some of the legends and some of the what is even canon now, he was powerful before he was trained too. blah 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 blah.
Something,
so why
something
can't
midichlorians, something,
something
yes.
something midichlorians, something force?
Yeah.
Why can't Rey just be a really strong force? She's just like so powerful that she's out of control. You shouldn't think of it as a Mary Sue. You should be thinking like, wow, I wonder what makes her so powerful. I hope we see, I'm sure that it'll be. They said it's going to be explained in a satisfying way, but it just might not be the way that you're thinking.
See,
now I've ruled out Luke being her dad
Oh,
completely.
it's not. That's that and the theory of Han and Leia being the mother and father.
No,
There's
they wouldn't know.
way.
They wouldn't know.
It wouldn't have. They wouldn't have gone through that whole Kylo back and forth, kill the dad thing. If they were going to also then be like, and they're both dead, and it raised the daughter. Like I don't think that's an option. So Luke's out. Han and Leia out. I think the Obi-Wan daughter is a stretch. If they're gonna explain it in a satisfying way, that's gonna require a lot of screen time.
Well, she couldn't be Obi-Wan's daughter because
granddaughter.
she'd have to be his granddaughter because if she was born before he died, that would make her over 30, and she's definitely in her early 20s.
Yes.
So the theory is that the main theory is that in the Clone Wars, we see Obi-Wan pre-Episode 3 have a relationship with Duchess Satine, the leader of the Mandalorians.
Yes.
Mandalorians. Okay, I corrected myself. Shut up, internet.
Midamorians.
I mixed up Mandalorians and Metachlorians, but anyways, Mandalorians. So anyways, a lot of people think that like they had a kid and then that kid had a kid and that kid is Rey. So maybe we certainly hear a lot of Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor, both their voices are in that Rey vision thing in The Force Awakens, but we also hear like Vader's breath and we also hear Yoda. So is Yoda her father too? Come on, guys.
Right.
Who knows? So, but I do
get ready for some freaky Force stuff. Yoda, you are the father. Do or do not, I did try.
Luke, you are not the father.
Maury.
Anyways, so yeah, Luke definitely not. Obi-Wan as the grandfather, maybe. I said there's a 10% chance that she's related to Obi-Wan. I say that there's actually about a 40-50% chance, in my opinion, that she's just born from the Force like Anakin was, and then whatever's left, 40% chance that she's just born
from the necessity.
Nobody we know. Yeah.
From the necessity of the imbalance. See, I could see that because Luke is, in theory, the Last Jedi, right? Mm-hmm. And so when Rey gets introduced, it's just born out of this necessity for there to be a balance, the rule of twos, because you have Kylo and Snoke as major players already in the universe. And so maybe that's their explanation. I think that's fair. I think that's a good kickback to the old movies without like camping off it.
It's just, at the end of Empire Strikes Back, Luke, I am your father. It's like if they have another parent reveal at the end of this one, people are going to be like, oh, see? I told you it was going to be a ripoff of Empire.
Totally going to happen, yeah.
So it's like, because you guys complain so much about The Force Awakens, now we don't get to know who Rey's parents are at the end of this movie.
It's your fault.
We'll probably find out at the end of Episode 9, to be honest. Or maybe not at all, because who cares? Honestly.
Yeah. Well, they're going to bring it up. It'll be satisfying to the point of like now they've talked about it. I don't think it's gonna be some giant reveal with.
Right now, people are gonna like go back to this first Star Wars and be like, "See, look at Richie doesn't even care who Rey's parents are." And like later, I'm like, "Oh man, it was so cool when they revealed that." Blah, blah,
it was the best part of the movie.
Guys,
it wasn't. It's not going to be the best part of the movie.
I'm a finicky reviewer. I'm a finicky fan. I change my mind about everything all the time. Get used to it.
Yes.
In one episode, you hear me say one thing, and then 2 weeks later, be like, you know what? I've changed my mind.
I thought the Clone Wars were pretty good.
Yeah, fickle person over here. Anyways, so who knows? Before we move on, anything else you want to say about Rey, her parents, and all that?
Only because, and I know we won't do this to the end. We didn't mention it. We will answer comments and questions in the last 15 minutes.
I'm usually good about talking about that at the beginning.
That's why I'm here. Because he asked a good question, and I'm only going to... Hail Hydra asked a good question. I'm only going to bring it up because that was something I wanted to bring up. Question: what are your thoughts on the rumor and theory of Snoke maybe being Darth Plagueis? Which also brings into the Rey theory of that Snoke's daughter and stuff like that.
That's been an interesting theory from the moment The Force Awakens came out. It's like, is Snoke Darth Plagueis? Yeah. And if he is, then I feel like they've brought him in a disappointing way. Like everybody, like Snoke action figures and bobbleheads and everything, those don't even sell that well because, and it's just like people have lost interest so much in Snoke because they've done such a bad way of presenting his character and revealing him. It's like, I don't know. It's like if he's Plagueis, I wish they'd done it differently. And also just, I don't think they should have showed Snoke in The Force Awakens at all. You don't see Emperor Palpatine in A New Hope at all.
They introduced him as the man behind the mirror, like the whole man behind the curtain theory. They're just like, oh, look at this giant, like, weird god thing that doesn't really play a role other than, like, get pissed at Ren. Like, why would you buy a figure for that? So I don't know if he's going to be as big of a player in this next movie.
I have so many mixed feelings about Snoke because I don't care about him. He's not that threatening to me, and he
doesn't seem real.
He doesn't seem real. He I don't know.
Yeah,
he's not.
Pretty much.
I don't care.
He sucks. And then in 2 weeks we'll be like, "This is the best dude ever."
I was like, "Oh man,
did you see it?"
Oh yeah, see that's what I'm saying. Like, who knows? We can see this movie and Snoke will be our new favorite character.
I just realized because I'm on this show, I now have to see the movie the day after you do.
You sure do.
Crap. I did buy a ticket.
Well, but remember, we do this. Oh wait a minute. No. We do this show on Wednesdays. And like the movie comes out on a Thursday, so it'll be like a whole week before we have to do this episode. Although I'll probably do like a review of the movie like that night that you don't have to watch until you see
the
movie. Okay?
I won't.
But you'll need to see it before the next episode, of course.
Fair.
Because I'll be like, oh, I gotta talk about all this. Oh, sorry, Derek, spoilers.
Sitting here screaming the whole time.
All right, so yeah, I think we're done with Rey and everything.
So do we still want to talk about episode 8? Do we want to talk about
yeah, of course. That's the next thing we gotta get into is the so as many of you guys know, The Force Awakens episode 7 was the most not critically, well, in some people's, it was the most financially successful
Top
movie
grossing.
worldwide besides Avatar, of course. So it's number 2.
Yes.
And
you mean Pocahontas? Sorry.
I know. I don't
Star
get
Wars
it.
Hour, Star Wars Hour,
it.
Star Wars Hour, not Avatar bashing hour. That's brutal.
Although I'm just save a minute to say that like Avatar is like okay, it's not great. And I don't understand how it made so much money. Who did James Cameron have to like? I don't know.
It was James Cameron. It was James Cameron. That's the reason.
You ever watch Future Man on Hulu? It's like critically acclaimed genius James
Cameron. Yes.
Anyways, not Avatar bashing hour.
Okay,
that could be a separate show.
So, box office. Now, this is the part where I personally have some experience and also a little bit of internal debate about. I don't know how well this next movie is going to do. I think it's going to do very well. It will beat Rogue One.
It'll definitely beat Rogue One,
which was just slightly over $1 billion in worldwide earnings. But the drop off between The Force Awakens, which was everybody, their mother, their father, the boomer generation, all the way to whatever they're calling kids now, wanted to see this movie.
Yeah.
Everybody alive had a tie to this movie and this film, and so it grossed $2 billion. That's a lot.
It was the first Star Wars movie in 10 years, and it brought back a lot of that nostalgia that people liked in the original Star Wars trilogy.
Yes.
A lot of people were divisive about the prequels. I personally enjoy the prequels. They're not as good as the original trilogy, obviously, but I still enjoy them, and I don't complain to death about little things that are problems in a lot of movies.
Attack of the Clones is my favorite movie. Everybody hates me for that, but what they did with introducing the droids and having that like different level of not just focus on Jedi battles, to me was huge.
Yeah.
I love the idea of like watching economies and watching people formulate and run huge armies, and you got to watch some killer battles in that movie.
I think that episode 1 is probably the best of the prequels for me. Maybe because I was, 10 years old. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of that. So I think it'll probably earn slightly over Rogue One. It'll be Rogue One-ish numbers.
Rogue One didn't get the numbers. I think most people understood that Rogue One was a spinoff and that there was no Rey or Finn or anything. And like I personally think that Rogue One is a better movie than Episode 7, The Force Awakens. But people got invested in those characters first, and they were like, no Rey, see ya. So this is the continuing Rey, continuing Luke, everybody, and it's this is the movie that people have been waiting for 2 years. Yep. So it will definitely do better than Rogue One. I don't think it's going to crack $2 billion though.
No, I don't think it can. I think it'll probably end up pretty much halfway between. It'll be between $1 billion and $2 billion. Yeah,
because of critical response, a lot of people didn't like The Force Awakens. They thought it was rehash of Episode 4, and so that is going to hurt the numbers of this movie. People are like, oh, you mean it's the sequel to Force Awakens? That like rehash? That's a small percentage, mind you, but I think that small percentage kind of affects the attitude of a lot of people. Yep. I'm going to predict that it'll make over $1.5 billion worldwide. So it'll get at least 75% of what The Force Awakens got. That's what I think.
Yes. Yeah, and I think the first weekend will scare a lot of people. It's going to be surprisingly disappointing despite already selling out. Just due to its nature. It's just not being released everywhere like The Force Awakens was. That was the whole world was like, I gotta fly to some other country in order to watch this movie before it comes out so it doesn't get spoiled. So we'll see.
Well,
yep.
I think critically though, I think that this will be better. I think that I'll enjoy it more. I'm just predicting here because, again, Rian Johnson, I think I'm going to enjoy it more. Yep. I think critics are going to like it more. I think everyone will be like, wow, this was a fantastic movie. Yep. And so, again, when JJ comes back for episode 9, they're like, whoa, he better step it up.
He better bring his A game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of that.
Yeah, so, I guess that's really all there is to say. I predict it'll be somewhere in the middle.
Yep.
Which
is fair.
That's it.
It's the easiest answer. Right.
So,
what else you got on there?
that we have gone through all of my notes except for the upcoming X-Wing release.
No, we will leave that.
We will leave that. Because literally no one here probably cares or plays it.
Which is fine. Maybe I'll do a little 5-minute segment at the end because that is an incredible game.
We love Star Wars, by the way.
Yes.
So we play, if anybody's familiar with the X-Wing miniatures game, it's basically Warhammer but Star Wars, where we have little ships and we go pew pew and we have the little thing. But guess what? There's probably no place to talk about that here. But
anyways.
That's all we're going to say.
Yes. And they're releasing new stuff, and it's great, and it's a great game, and you'll spend an absolute inordinate amount of money on it. But that happens. No, I think what we can do is I want to talk more about Disney's influence on the series in relation to, like, trailers, releases, the introduction of the porgs. Where do you think Disney has their hands? Because we can't deny that Disney doesn't have a touch on it.
Here's the thing. I think that people see porgs and they're like, there's Disney doing, but it's like, guys, Jar Jar, droids, even Ewoks. These were all a part of Star Wars before Disney had anything to do with it. True. Disney has always, in some way, Star Wars and Lucasfilm have always in some way put things in that they think will appeal to children, because Lucas has said Star Wars is for children. We're adults. We just happen to enjoy it.
It's cool.
But he's like, Star Wars is for children. It's like, because he gets real grumpy, like whenever people complain about Jar Jar and everything. He's like, well, that's not my fault. You're watching a kids movie. I made this for kids. You just
Star Wars for children.
When a lot of people think like, oh, well, that's just a cop out. He's just saying that to make excuses for himself. Maybe he was. I don't know. I make things and make excuses for myself all the time. So.
Right.
So there's that. But porgs, I don't know. I don't see porgs being any different than what we got with Ewoks and those sorts of things. Like, they're just a new species that happens to be cute and cuddly.
But why
I've already bought like 4 action figures.
Yeah, and I did buy your wife a porg poster.
Yeah, see?
For her birthday. No,
porgs are awesome.
Porgs are cool, but like, why does it hook up with Chewie?
Oh, well,
like, why? Like, where's the logic in that? So I never caught on to that.
I think that it's actually in the official Star Wars encyclopedia now, I believe, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, porgs actually are force sensitive. They
that's why they're hanging out with Luke?
I don't think that they can use the force, but I think that they embody it or something. Like, they don't want to say it, but I think they have a high metachlorian count.
They can smell it.
Luke being on Octu with all the porgs is enhancing his ability to see things or something like that. That's the theory. And so
It's kind of like Yoda in the bog for some reason that they never explained
Sort of,
why he was hanging out there.
So like, it's not that one goes with Chewie; it's that one goes with Luke and Chewie, and just we don't see Luke on the Millennium Falcon in the trailers, except for the one trailer where we see Luke powering on the Falcon.
Yes.
But Luke is on the Falcon, and he brings that porg with them to enhance his own aging Force ability. You know.
Do you think it's only in the way of like sensing midichlorians, or do you think they physically can enhance Force abilities by users nearby? Do you think it gets that advanced, or do you think it's a terrible theory?
It's going to be whatever they decide in the movie.
That's a good point. Watch it.
So I see people in the comments they're like, Star Wars is for everybody. And yes, Star Wars is for everybody.
Yes.
But I was just saying that Lucas himself said that Star Wars is for kids. And again, it was probably an excuse.
Yeah.
And as Derek said earlier, and I'll get better about mentioning this at the beginning of episodes, we talk for 40, 45, 50 minutes about stuff. And then we'll save the last 10 to 20 minutes at the end to answer your live questions. We felt obligated to answer your live questions a minute ago because we forgot to mention that we do that at the end.
I just saw the comment the Nintendo man posted right before he deleted it.
Oh, what
and
did
it
it say?
was maybe it's Luke's service animal.
Ooh.
It's got a little vest on. Sorry. I love service animals, but that would be hilarious. He's like, I can't take him on alone. I need to bring this porg. That would be ridiculous. I don't think it'll get
No
there.
porgs allowed on this planet. But he's my service animal. Oh, sorry, right this
Oh,
way.
do you have your paperwork? Did you get that approved by the Galactic Emperor?
So yeah, porgs. I think porgs are going to be real neat. Actually, I think that everybody's bitching will end when they see how awesome the porgs are.
I bet he's gonna do something. He's gonna bite something or fight something, and it's gonna be like BB-8. It's gonna be the equivalent of BB-8's like fire thumbs up, which I thought was
awesome.
Oh,
we haven't talked about yet is BB-9, the new the black
yes.
droid, the one that's BB but evil.
Yeah, how do you think they came up with that as
Apparently the cast and crew were calling him BB Hate before they came up with BB-9.
somebody better call him BB-8 in the movie. I'm gonna be pissed.
But I think Rian Johnson, like, coming into episode 8, he was like, so BB-9's the only droid like this? There's got to be other they had to have made other droids like this, right? So if you put other droids, it's not just, I think there's going to be more than just the two of them. We're going to see a lot of droids with the magnetic dome, but that's going to be
it's more efficient. It's frankly more efficient.
I think we're going to see BB-8 and BB-9 get in a little like tiffle, a little fight.
You think?
Yeah.
Don't you think it'll be a space fight?
Fight.
Don't you think it'll be some starfighter fight where both of them are on like
they take over their ships?
Yeah, or he's like with Poe Dameron or something, and they're both like yelling at coordinates and stuff like that. I think it might.
Oh, like maybe BB-9 is Phasma's droid or something like that. We'll see.
Maybe BB-9 isn't evil.
It's just I think
we see BB-8 in the trailer?
I think a little bit. Yeah. He's running with Poe down the hallway.
Yes. Okay.
But what's interesting is what I've always said is, because we play the X-Wing. Rebels can use astromechs, and the Empire can't because generally they don't. Their TIE fighters don't use astromech droids, so that's why you don't see a whole lot of droids other than like the C-3PO types walking around helping.
The service droids.
Service droids.
Yeah.
They don't really have astromechs because they don't use astromechs, but they now have astromech droids. I think just because Rian Johnson was like they should have droids, which I love because I've always been like they little droid buddies,
Well, I don't.
And like, what's her name has a little probe droid in Battlefront 2. Like she has it's like her little backpack friend,
Which I think is really cool. Here's a fun one. Do you think they will introduce? What's her character's name in Battlefront 2?
Iden? Is it Iden?
Ida?
I think it's Iden.
Is it Iden? Will they introduce Iden in 9?
No. You mean 8?
No, I don't think they'll introduce her in 8.
She'd be old now, right?
Yeah, don't you think? Because she would be... How old would she be? Because
she looks about 30 in Battlefront 2, which would make her about 60. But the voice actress, she looks just like the character. They did the mocap and everything. I think again, I haven't quite beaten the game yet, but I know what happens. But I know that like it gets to kind of like the Kylo Ren stuff, and the characters do look a little bit older. So, I mean, they could do age makeup and whatever. Well,
they might not even do age makeup on her. They may just introduce her as a canon character, but not the same actor.
She could just be in one scene.
Yeah,
hey, I'm important. All of a sudden, remember me? Bet you don't.
All this is like, scurries behind the scene.
She just like looks right at the screen. Hey kids, buy Battlefront 2.
Just zooms in and out.
Yeah, I don't really see her in the canon movies unless it like was confirmed that she's Rey's mom, and I do think that idea is a little bogus. But
yeah, that was another one we didn't touch.
Oh yeah, we didn't touch that, but a lot of people think that the characters in Battlefront 2 are Rey's parents, and it's like, why would they do that in a video game? That's like, remember the Matrix?
Who would give them the right to do that in a video game? I know they have the rights to make this new game.
Well, I mean, it is canon, but I mean, I don't think they were going to be like, and you're going to introduce Rey's parents.
We're going to drop the biggest spoiler in this game. That would have had to have been some heavy hitting on EA's part.
No.
But even EA does not have that type of pull over the movie industry.
But remember the Matrix game? I don't even remember that, but like back in like 2002, they released the Matrix game.
Yes.
And I can't remember what exactly it was called, but I played it. I was like, oh, this seems like really important. And then like everyone hated the Matrix sequels, and a part of that was because there was all this exposition that was explained in the video game. Because the Wachowski brothers were like, we want this to be a multimedia experience. There's going to be the Animatrix. There's going to be a video game, and if you haven't seen all of that, you're not going to understand anything. And guess what? No one understood anything because no one's going to do all that.
That is way too much work.
I mean, I did all that.
Well,
but
that's why you know about it, and I don't.
Oh, good. Garrett's online. I was going to say, hey, somebody said enter the... Yeah, it's Enter the Matrix.
Yes.
So they made the mistake of putting a lot of important exposition in Enter the Matrix. There's a lot of important exposition in Battlefront 2, but as of now, it's not pertinent to the
no,
main
it
games,
doesn't.
and I don't think it should be.
Well, and it doesn't carry the main story plot, or at least the storyline in the movies, which you can have two entirely different individual not even timelines, but just plots. One carried out by the video games and comics and Star Wars X-Wing and all these other
But there is one
secondaries.
thing in Battlefront 2 that they did say is important for watching Episode 8, and that's the scene where Luke goes in that room, the secret Palpatine room, where he finds the compass thing.
Yes.
We see him wearing that compass in Episode 8.
Yes.
So there are little things like that. But
don't you think they're going to explain that? They're going to explain that in the movie.
But by the way, I took this from this thing. Battlefront 2. I looked around and I thought someone was controlling my actions.
Yes. Do you have a theory behind what that is or what that's going to be? What's the compass?
No, I have no idea. And they didn't explain it in the game.
No, they didn't
either.
even talk about it. There's just like,
Because
I'm
again,
take this.
it's smart to save that stuff for the movie. So we'll see.
My thought, and this is interesting because if you're thinking the porgs are like an enhancement to force abilities, then what's the compass do? If he already has that enhancement to the force abilities, being Luke, is the compass a map? The compass has got to be a map. It's going to be the classic, I found a map. And that's all they're going to have to do in the movie.
I'm a map, I'm a map, I'm a map, I'm a map, I'm a map.
They're going to, what he's going to do is he's going to put the compass inside the porg, and then whenever he needs it, he's going to go backpack, and the porg's going to go, yes. Get ready for that.
Yeah, who knows? Porgs, maps, compasses, it's all going to be interesting to see in The Last Jedi. Now, I think that's pretty much all we're going to be discussing here. So now we've got about 15 minutes left to answer your live questions. If you're watching this in the future when it's not live anymore, don't worry. People ask all kinds of interesting questions, and something that you are answering may be, or something you are wanting questioned might be questioned right here live. And if not, go ahead and hit up that comment section below. That's what it's there for.
Yep.
Otherwise, Derek, find me a good question.
I don't guarantee it's going to be good. I just guarantee it's going to be a question.
A question about Star Wars.
Here's a good one. Right. Oh, yeah. Do you think Finn is ever going to be on par with Rey?
Oh, no.
No, there's no way. Because it would take that strong female lead out of it, which they need.
There's that, and also just like he's not force sensitive, and he's just
no.
I mean, I actually like the character of Finn quite a bit, but he's kind of borderline comic relief. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
he's the significantly more comic relief Poe. I mean, he's good. He's good at what he does. But
I mean, even like Poe wasn't even supposed to really be a character. He was supposed to be there for like when everyone thought he was dead at the beginning. That's when he was supposed to die.
Yes.
And then J.J. Abrams was like, "Oh, I like what you're doing a lot, Oscar Isaac. We'll just put you at the end of the movie too."
Yep.
So it was supposed to be just an unnamed X-wing pilot that destroys Star Killer Base at the end, but instead it ends up being Poe Dameron.
Poe Dameron.
They got a lot more out of Oscar Isaac than they bargained for, but now
they got to
pay him for 2 more movies.
He was good. He was good. I enjoyed it.
Unless he dies in this one now. So, I mean, judging that first trailer looked like he
So here was a question that's easily answered was, do you think we'll find out if Rey's who Rey's parents are or where she comes from in episode 8? And the answer is
No. Again, because people were already complaining that Force Awakens was too much of a copy of A New Hope. So if they reveal her parentage in episode 8, I feel like people are like, well, that's just like Vader. So it's like, you got to figure out what you want. Do you want to know? Do you want to know? Do you want it to be kind of like Empire? Do you not?
I think they'll hint at it.
Yeah, I think they're gonna kind of hint at it, but they're not gonna be like. There's not gonna be like, "Hi, I'm Mr. Exposition. Hello, Rey. Here's your family tree.
Here's your birth certificate, and Obi-Wan's here, and down here you see Yoda. He's old." Yeah,
Obi-Wan and
everyone's
Yoda.
Connected. They're just like
Star Wars universe is apparently really small, guys.
Yoda could do it. Yoda could do it. Yeah. Then here was another one from the Nintendo Man 64. You think Rey will lose a hand, and this actually carried to another one mentioned later by where is it?
You don't have to answer no, understand, again, this is the first Star Wars Hour, so I'm going to be a little bit lenient on you guys this one time. But, for example, Squiggles, who's coming in and asking questions like, do you think Rey is a Kenobi, when we've already answered that to death earlier.
Correct.
We're not going to answer those questions. You're just going to have to go back and watch this episode later. So
which I'm not bringing this one up, but
cool.
that's a good point. So we don't see 1,000 of those.
Yeah.
Because this was asked twice. It was, do you think Rey's going to lose a hand, and who do you think is going to lose a hand? I think the answer to that is nobody's going to lose a hand because everybody's already complaining that everything's been a copy.
Oh, my arms. Oh, no, I have the low ground.
just explodes and all his body parts fly off. Oh, no, I have the low ground.
You're the lowest ground.
You know what? It would not surprise me if they said that in like a comic relief format where somebody's just like, oh shit, we have the low ground. And then just like they just move up and walk up a flight of stairs or something.
God, I'll never forget somebody that my sister was dating years ago. She's not dating him anymore for what it's worth. Someone that my sister was dating years ago had never seen any Star Wars movies before.
I've met a lot of people like that.
Yeah, I can't
really
believe
sad.
that those people exist. Anyways,
right.
So we're showing him Star Wars for the first time, and we start episode 1. And when we get to episode 3, and it's like it's over, Anakin. I have the high ground. He was like, so what does that matter? Because he was a martial art expert. You know, he's like, I could do that, no problem. And then he's like, you know, he gets his arms and legs chopped off. He's like, whoa, I guess that low ground was super pertinent. Jeez, like,
which if you look, didn't the MythBusters do that? They did a little special on the high ground versus the low ground. But I think the most, other than me trying to like come to the aid of George Lucas, the high ground versus low ground argument has something to do with the Force. Just chalk it up to the Force and just let it be. Otherwise, you'll kill yourself over thinking about that. Next question. We had a fun one, which is really easy. What's your favorite lightsaber?
Oh, my favorite lightsaber? I think specifically it probably is the Anakin /Luke/Rey blue lightsaber, just because that's the one that's like throughout everything, you know. And it's the only one that I have a $100 Force Effects lightsaber for that I got for my 18th birthday.
Yeah.
Back when episode
Don't even
3
try.
came out.
You're gonna. You just had a birthday. You can't do the math now. There's my favorite one. It's the blade saber from the Clone Wars. Yes, the black one.
The black, yeah.
The only one to break another lightsaber.
Yeah.
That was incredible to me. And I read a lot up on the backing to that, but I'm not going to bother boring you guys.
Says maybe the pork is the Daxter to Luke's Jack. Like Jack and Daxter.
Yes.
Just like he gets on Luke's back.
Yep.
They have like a little platforming section.
It's tiny wings. They're like little hummingbird wings.
You've played Banjo-Kazooie, now play Luke and Porg.
I would play that.
Have a name for
yeah,
sure.
I would play that.
Jackie names all of our Porg action figures like specifically. You know, here's Borgus and here's like.
I wonder what the name's gonna be.
Who knows?
Watch it just be, what up? I'm Tiny Luke. Tiny Luke.
Back when I thought that the Porg was Chewie's personal pet, I thought maybe he named him Han. You know.
But all you would hear is,
but then Luke would be like, "Oh, you're right, buddy.
Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy." And then everybody's like, "I don't understand what that
Chewie
means."
says he's named him Han. You know.
God, that one. Please don't let that happen.
You know, somebody's got to be his translator now that Han's dead. You know, because it would always be like,
no, Ray understood him. Ray understands him.
You said it, Chewie. You know, Ray understands him.
Ray understood him.
When did she learn Wookiee?
Apparently, she knew it all along because that became pretty clear when they were leaving together.
Okay.
Watch it again, because to me,
Earlier, I was like, "Dude, stop saying she's a Mary Sue. She's not a Mary Sue." And it's like, oh, she knows Wookiee too. It's like, okay.
I think it's because
why is she so good at everything?
she's made of the Force.
Oh, yeah, see,
Boom.
maybe that 40% will turn into a 60% now. She 60% says she's born from the source,
which is the
I
Force.
spit everywhere. Born from my spit. Next question.
Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh, I jumped to the bottom.
Oh, Hail Hydra is correcting you. It's the dark saber. It's called the dark saber. It's called the dark saber.
Thank you. I couldn't remember. I appreciate that. And that is the only person. Sorry, shout out to Hail Hydra. That is the only person I ever spelled my name right. Right on. Sorry, side note. Who's my favorite clone trooper?
Rex. Probably Rex.
Yeah, Rex had such a... He was so dynamic. He was the only one not to just be a clone, more or less.
Especially now that it's confirmed that Rex survives till Endor also.
Yes.
Let's see that old man? That's Rex.
Yep. Which I think
that's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we're not gonna have an argument there because that was good. What else you got here? Oh, stormtroopers are clankers. Clearly clankers. In all aspects,
Clankers.
the only downside is how they're able to think. Clones, in theories, can think like everybody else. They're able to think independently. They can operate independently, and inherently, that's a better way to run an army. Anybody ran off of rule. I forget the quote, but it's like, for the laws of war, anybody who governs an army based on rules and laws solely will lose a war, and that's always been the case. So, I think that's important, and I think that's correct. Battle droids are the best. Find another one in there.
Nintendo Man says, think Hayden Christensen's coming back. And probably not, because he's like kind of semi-retired from film, because I don't think people didn't like him very much, I would personally love to see him come back as Force Ghost Anakin to kind of like be like, no, Kylo, you're an idiot. Here's what you're doing wrong, and here's what you need to fix.
I think that would be a great cameo.
Yeah.
More or less. I think that would be a great
one scene.
Yeah, if you're gonna have him in it, have his voice. Don't even show his face. Have him be one of the Force voices.
I would like to see Force Ghosts at all, because like Force Ghosts were all like Obi-Wan, and then at the end of Return of the Jedi, all the Force Ghosts. It's like Force Ghosts were a very important part of Luke's whole thing.
Yes.
If you don't have Force Ghosts, then I hope it's not just like, I saw all my Jedi friends as ghosts, but now they're all gone. Like, I'd hate for them to just write off Force Ghosts. Like that. I really want to see Force Ghosts return in Episode 8.
I think they could do it better. The way they included him in the original was pretty brutal.
It's just like, Luke, exposition. Obi-Wan just became Mr. Exposition.
Yes. Well, which is...
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah, because if you play it, he's the current embodiment of the Force because he died.
Yeah.
So, what do we have? What's your reaction to J.J. Abrams writing and directing Episode 9? We already talked about that. Mm-hmm. Go back and look at the beginning. That's what we started with.
Yeah. Watch this video again.
Or just bring it back to minute 2 and you'll hit it. Yeah, Ratchet and Clank, all that. Okay. Do you think Akbar will be killed off in this movie?
Gee, is it because like the guy who plays Admiral Akbar died in real life?
Did he really?
He did.
Well, that voice isn't that hard.
Actually, no. Or was it the 9 Nub guy that died in real life? Shoot, I can't remember, guys. Somebody died.
Who died?
I know Carrie Fisher died, obviously.
Yeah, which is Yellow Saber. Sorry, bringing it back.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I hope that I just imagine Admiral Akbar lives forever. So, we'll see.
Well, how old is he at this point?
How old is he? God, he's got to be like 100, 200.
How old does that race live? I know nothing about that race.
The Mon Calamari, I think, live for a few hundred years.
300, 400 years?
Something like that.
So he's like middle age? He'll probably die.
Oh, yeah. Squiggle said Akbar died at 93 last year. Yeah.
Damn.
He was old, yeah.
Damn. Yeah, then they'll probably kill him off. Yep. Because they do that. They've already... Well, here's the thing. They've already concluded that Carrie's character, Leia's going to die. Right? Or what are you reading?
Well, no, they have not confirmed that yet.
Well, they mentioned that she was not going to be. They're not going to.
I know they
they're
have not
going
said
to
it.
mocap her and.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it's iffy. We'll see what they do. I think I would hate for them to be like, well, she's retired and we're never gonna see her again. You know, just
Right.
like kind of like I don't know what everybody thinks about Fast and Furious 7 when Paul Walker they kind of like CGI'd his face on top of his brother and had him like ride off in the sunset.
I thought that was fair.
And we'll never see him again. It was like, okay, I get it.
That's a good way to do it in that type of movie though, where each of them's kind of an independent action film.
Yeah, but
you don't have.
I don't want to see that here. It's like
No, it won't.
you got to either kill off Princess Leia. No, that's really all you have to do is just kill her off because if you're not going to do a replacement or a mocap thing, which again, I don't know why everyone's so like, you can't I would be totally okay with a CGI Princess Leia in Episode 9, but I guess that's just me.
Well, I like how they brought in the general. What's his name?
Tarkin
Yes.
in Rogue One. Yeah, a lot of people were like, that looks dumb.
No,
I thought
that
it
looked
great.
incredible for the technology.
And a lot of people,
look at-
that's disrespecting the actor who's dead. It's like, no, I'm pretty sure if he was
They brought back Tupac.
If Carrie Fisher could somehow talk from the grave, she'd be like, yeah, CGI me, I don't care. You know,
Yes.
she wouldn't care. She'd be all for it. So everybody like respecting Carrie's wish. Like, guys, come on. Carrie Fisher was like the most open-minded,
She would have been down for
energetic
whatever.
person.
She would have liked her. She would have wanted herself to be carried on.
Yeah.
Because of everything else she stood for. It got a lot of attention to mental illness and all of those different factions. So I think she would have wanted it, but I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they can. I think the internet would explode.
Right. So since they're not going to do it, then I think they should kill her off in Episode 8. But again, we'll see. We're going to see in just a week and a half.
Yep. So we have
2 weeks or whatever.
We have one here, which is
No, a week and a half.
I kind of like. There's 2-1, and I think we'll be done. And these are the last two. Have you heard the theory that Han ignited Kylo's saber so to save him from falling farther into the dark side, which supports your theory? I haven't heard that, but it supports your theory.
I don't think so. I don't think that
But why would igniting the lightsaber have anything to do with that? Because Han isn't Force.
Yeah, Han does not have the Force,
He's
and
not a
there's no
Force.
way he could do that. No, that's a stretch. That's a real
It's a stretch. I like it. Haven't heard it. It's a stretch. What's your favorite Star Wars prequel saber fight?
Favorite prequel fight is obviously the Darth Maul Episode 1 fight. It doesn't really get better than that.
so badly though. In half.
Well, that didn't kill him though.
Did it not?
No.
Oh my god.
You need to watch Clone Wars and Rebels
I
because
gotta
Maul
watch it
was
all
a
again.
big character in both of those
I
shows.
gotta watch it again. I haven't watched.
Yeah,
I
by
haven't
the
gone
way,
through all of them in a while.
Clone Wars and Rebels are canon to the new canon, and Maul.
No, I watched
survived.
Clone Wars.
Oh, you
Yes.
did? Yeah, he
Yes,
survived.
yes.
He's the spider legs,
Yep.
you know.
No.
It's like he's just like he went insane because like he's just like using the Force to extend his life, you know.
Yes.
It's great. I know that it's huge, just fan service because it's like he should have died, but everyone was like he can't die like. So he did. It's canon that he survived. Phantom Menace.
Canon fan service. My favorite type of service. Did you want to answer one more? We are at 56.
Let's take 2 more questions.
2 more questions. Make them good. And if they're not good, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
touch
even,
them.
Hail Hydra said that Carrie was able to see the CGI in Rogue One, like with the young Leia at the
So
end.
she probably mentioned it to somebody.
Yeah, she saw it. She liked it at the end of Rogue One. So why would she not like it in? We'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
People get weird about stuff.
Yes.
Trying to find a good one here.
I like the least favorite one. We can do that one.
Episode 2 is probably my least favorite Star Wars film, but under the understanding that I still enjoy. Again, I enjoy all Star Wars.
I think the plot and just the dialogue and it dragged on. My least favorite parts. I usually just
I can never remember
Fast
the
to the
sand
fight
thing.
scenes.
It's like sand. It's coarse. It's not smooth, and whatever the whatever the sand line
Yeah.
is. That
Yeah.
that's not okay. But ultimately, the thing that makes Episode 2 the weakest Star Wars movie, in my opinion, is just you don't believe the chemistry between Anakin and Padme.
No,
It just
you don't.
doesn't really work. He comes off as kind of creepy.
That's not
and
like the rat tail. I don't know who does that.
all of
That
a
was the
sudden
thing.
she loves him out of nowhere. It just doesn't make that much sense. But again, I enjoy every Star Wars movie. I forgive it of its transgressions,
Yep.
I still enjoy Episode 2, but it is the weakest Star Wars movie, I think.
I'll give that to you.
Yeah. What's your least favorite Star Wars movie?
I would probably go with Phantom Menace, just because that was the one to follow up the original trilogy, and don't think it really carried it. It carried it kind of the wrong way. Which is what led to episode 2.
Right.
Like, I think, yeah, that's a good summary.
if you were watching episode 1 after the original trilogy, I think, and of course everybody at that point had, then I think that is the reaction. But of course, according to Lucas, you're supposed to watch them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 after that point, you know. And that's the only way I ever watch them now is I only watch them 1 through 7 and beyond.
But, or as background
because
for when we play X-Wing.
especially now that we have episode 7 and beyond, it's like it doesn't really make sense to go 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7. Like you go now. Everyone for forever now. Everyone just watch them in chronological order, not in when they were made.
Yes. So then. We have what is your opinion on the midichlorians? Good idea or idea?
You know, the interesting thing is, I actually, in the unpopular opinion, I actually don't mind the whole metachlorian thing. I think Lucas was trying to come up with an interesting. It was the prequels. They were supposed to explain things, and part of that is that we have a whole Jedi. Like Luke doesn't know what's going on in the original trilogy. He's like, "Oh, what's a Jedi? Yeah. Oh, I'm going to train like in 2 weeks by Yoda." You know, like.
Yep.
So there wasn't a whole lot of room to explore what the Jedi's actually believe.
Yes.
And so the metachlorians were just another part of like what the Jedi actually believe. That there's this living life force in all of us that is, you know, and they gave it a name, metachlorians, which is kind of like the real life mitochondria that, you know, exists in all of our cells, you know.
I think that's fair.
So I think that they were just trying to give kind of a sciencey reason behind the force. And you know what, guys? There's actually absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you people are like, it's supposed to be mystical and it's supposed to be like it's like, yeah, that's what, you know, people have turned the force into a religion in the Star Wars universe, but it has to start somewhere, otherwise it's just gobbledygook. So you know what, I'm 100% pro metachlorian.
Me too. It has to be something. It has to be something that Star Wars isn't a religion. It's a physical thing that can affect other physical things. It's not magic. What we don't see in Star Wars ever is magic. And so I think it's a fine explanation. So, yeah. I think that's a good first episode.
Yeah, that's it. That's an hour.
Yeah,
just
we
reached
did
an
it.
hour. All right, guys. Thank you for watching the Star Wars Hour every Wednesday at about 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Be closer to 6:30.
6:30. Yeah, depending on when things happen.
Yes.
But anyways, thank you for watching. Derek, anything else you want to say?
No, thank you guys for coming by. It was going to be a good series. There's a lot of good Star Wars stuff out there. We can hit a lot of topics. We will do comic episodes. We will do just the Star Wars Clone Wars episode. We will hit everything eventually. But for now, my friends, bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Have a wonderful time.
Bye. Have a beautiful time.